Hey everyone, this is Alease Michelle, your online marketing and branding coach. I'm your girl who helps women just like you who have a desire and passion to help others to build a brand and grow businesses that are that bring in consistent income, right? Let's mess that up. So, all right. So today I want to share with you my October book haul. I thought that this would be a great share. I see a lot on YouTube that people do like these dollar store hauls. They do like when they go to stores, what they haul them up when they're going to buy clothing and all this kind of stuff. So I thought, okay, what is something that I do typically on a monthly basis or a quarterly basis that I bring in a lot of stuff, and that happens to be books. Okay, guys, I read a ton of books or I listen to a ton of books. Typically, my average book is about 3 books a month. I am working on 4 books a month. Either I am listening to books in the car or I'm physically reading them. So I average about 3 books a month, which you guys know if you do not feed the mind, you will not feed the soul, nor will you feed your pocket, because whatever you feed is what you feed the mind. Whatever you feed the mind, if I can get my words together, right? Whatever you feed your mind is what you're going to produce in life. Okay, so I am a big advocate of feeding your mind with the most positive and uplifting things that educate you, things that put you on a total new level. I can be honest with you, I was not a big reader, and as a child, and that's probably why my writing skills was not that high. And I wasn't a big reader in college either. But I became a lover of books after college. I read my first book. It was Maya Angelou's first book that she wrote, and it literally propelled me to become a strong reader, right? So if some of you are watching, catching up on my Facebook stories, I did share a book that I took a snap. I know I did a little video where I said that this book changed my life, and it is I can't remember the title, but it was like, if I knew what I wanted to do or anything I wanted to do, something like that. Go to my Facebook stories and check that out. You'll see the cover of the book. But literally, that book really helped me get clear on what I wanted to do and what I should be doing. Okay, but that's not the October book haul. I don't know how I get off tangent. I can do that, right? All right, guys. So those of you who are jumping on with me, go ahead and hit the share button. Sharon is Karen. And if you want me to go ahead and give you a quick shout out, go ahead and put your name in the comment section so I can give you a shout out. All right. So I'm going to start right into the book haul. I have this is about 5 books, right? And so I had 2 book hauls from 2 different locations. My first book haul that I'm going to share with you comes from the public library, right? That's where you get free books, okay? And I use the public library quite often. The second haul comes from a used bookstore, okay? And in the Pineville, North Carolina area that I thought about. I'm like, we have a bookstore here in Rock Hill, but a used bookstore, excuse me. We have a used bookstore here in Rock Hill, but I remember this particular bookstore, I think it's called the Book Rack, right? Because I was in Rock Hill, it's called the Book Nook. Theirs is called the Book Rack. I remember how large the store was, right? And I knew that they had a really large section. So I Googled it real quick to make sure it was still in the same location. And so I hopped right over there and I purchased 3 books from the Book Rack. I want to make sure, yeah. No, I purchased 4 books. Okay, so I'm going to really share with you 6 books today. All right, so let's talk about the books that I got from the public library. First book I want to share with you is Tony Robbins' new book called Unshakable. Unshakable. It is your financial freedom playbook. Now, I tried to read his first book on finance, and I cannot remember even the name of it. Can't remember the name of it. But that book was hard. it was really hard. And maybe it was hard for me because I tried to listen to it on audio. I shouldn't have done that. But a lot of people who referenced that they read his first book, they really didn't give it really good reviews. Okay. So he came out the next year with this book, The Unshakable, right? Your Financial Freedom Playbook. And so this one is a lot smaller because the other one was really thick. And I think he understood that the first one was a little hard. Can't remember what the name of that book was. Anyone who remembers the name of the first book that Tony Robbins wrote about finance, please put it in the comments section to help me jog my memory. But this is Unshakable again. I am excited to read this. I am always been a person who is always learning about keeping her finances together, how to increase the money that she has, and how I can live off of it even longer. So I'm glad to get this. So this comes from the public library, right? And if it's really a good book, let me turn this light off. Does that help with the shine? All right, this is a shiny book. So if this is really, really a good book, then what I would do is that I would go purchase this and add it to my library, okay? So going to the public library really helps me decide if I'm going to keep the book or not. Because our library in Rock Hill is not that large, a lot of times I have to request that books get sent to me from other libraries around the county. So this was one of those books that I had to wait on. No, this wasn't one of the books. This was already there. So this one is there. Most of them, they keep all of Tony Robbins books there at our library. So I'm going to read this. I'm going to check this out. And then if it's a good one, then I will let you know. I'm going to do a book review and talk to you about it. And then it will be added to my library. I'll go purchase it and add it to my library. So this comes from the public library. All right. So the second book that I got from the public library is a book that was recommended from my investment coach. And he mentioned that this was a book that will really propel you to success. And it's a way to change the way you think about stuff. And it's a way to just set you up for success. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I read this book that I'm going to share with you. I didn't read it. I listened to it on audio first. Now, the audio was phenomenal. And so that made me go and say, okay, I want to read the book. Hey, Sheila, I want to read the book. Okay. So I went to the public library. Well, it wasn't there at the public library. I had to send it. I had to request for it to be sent to me. So it finally came yesterday. Today's Friday. Yesterday. And so I went to the library. I was so excited to get it. And so this book again, The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson, was recommended by my investment coach. He told us that this was a great, great book. A lot of times when he's talking to us, he refers back to some of the stories inside of the book. And the way my investment coach shares stories is phenomenal. And so when I listened to the book the first time, I was like, oh my gosh, that's the story that Josh shared with us. But so I wanted to read some more. I wanted to, listen and take in, but I wanted to read it now. So that's why I went to the library and I got The Slight Edge. Now, from my listening, I'm confused. By listening to it on audio, it is awesome. I mean, awesome, right? It tells you these little nuggets to help you maximize what you're already doing. So the subtitle is Turning Simple Disciplines into Massive Success and Happiness. Now, the subtitle really doesn't do it justice. I really recommend, if you're looking for something to really propel you, get you out of your rut, give you that momentum that you really need, The Slight Edge is that book to do it, right? Since Alex and I have, we both listened to the audio. Since Alex and I started listening to The Slight Edge, we have implemented little things, small disciplines in our life that have been suggested by The Slight Edge, and I have seen tremendous difference. Okay, I've seen a tremendous difference in my eating habits, my exercise habits, and my book, and that's just taking little little movements, and doing things a little different, right? So a lot of times we make a decision about what we're going to do if it's a slight edge movement, right? We'll say, okay, is that something that we should do? Is that something slight edge? Is that a slight edge movement kind of thing? So this book has really changed the way that we are thinking about our lives, our health, our finances, and our business. So again, guys, get this one, the slight edge, and we can talk about it, right? All right. So I'm going to share some things out of this one also, okay? When I reread it, because I listened to it first time, so I'm going to reread. So this comes from the library also, okay? All right, so those are the two books from the library. So I've got to start on these pretty soon because you guys know there's only 2 weeks that you can hold on to a book. Of course, I can renew it, but again, my average type of book is about, or reading books is about 3 books a month. So I'm trying to speed that up and get more books in a month and make it 4. I should have picked up a speed reading book. Duh, I think I'll add that to my list next time, okay? All right, so the next 4 books that I'm going to share with you come from the used bookstore in North Carolina, in Pineville, North Carolina. It's called the Book Rack. That's right, the Book Rack. And I love going to used bookstores because a lot of times, if you guys know, books can be really expensive. And the books that you see behind me are just a few books in our collection. Like, we have books all over the house. So sometimes I don't get to the books a lot. Like, maybe I buy them like 1 year and then I don't read it until the next year. So I thought, okay, if I'm going to, think about the book, I tend to write books down in my little journal and say, these are books that I want to pick up, or I put it in my wish list in my Amazon account. So if I'm going to wait that long to get books, how about just go check it out and see if it's at the used bookstore first, and then you get a really good discount, right? So a lot of these books that I got from the used bookstore today were like $6 and $5. And typically hardback books can be like $20. Softback books can be like $12, those kind of things, okay? So let me start off with I'm just talking because I'm so excited about what I got. So the book haul that I got from the used bookstore, I'm going to start off with this one. Okay, this is one of the last books I picked up before I left out. This is the 45-second presentation that will change your life. Now, this book is by Dan and Nancy. I don't know how to say their last name. Y'all can see that, right? That's the couple right there. And this book is really written toward people who are in the MLM business, the network marketing business. But the reason why I picked this up is because I'm really big in trying to find ways to explain things to people in a very short and concise way. I hate when people just ramble on and on and on when they're trying to explain something. Get to the point, show it to me. And if you can show it to me in a visual way, I'm going to immediately get it. Well, this book does this. They call these 45-second presentations, let me make sure I tell you right, napkin presentations. Napkin, like you present this information on a napkin, so it needs to be short and concise. But what I like also about it is that they actually show you like the illustrations, like little pictures that you would actually write on a napkin. Y'all see that? I know my finger. So here's some other ones. Let's show you. Okay, so you got one like this. Okay, so I think this is a great way for me to be able to remember how to present things, give it a different method to present something that I normally just run off in the mouth and present. So I'm really excited about reading this. This is not really that thick, okay? So this is not going to take me that long. I probably can knock this out in one night. Well, probably I can knock this out. I can knock this out in a couple of hours. But I'm really excited just to learn some new methods on how can I present things in a more simple and concise way so that people can really get it and understand it. So the 45-second presentation that would change your life. I'm pretty sure that this is let me see when this book was written. Oh, it was rewritten. The last copy is 2006. So you it's over 10 years old, but that doesn't mean that this information is bad. Okay, they're not talking about anything that's technology based, so this is still going to be good information. So I'm really excited about this one. This comes from the used bookstore. Okay, and if you're wondering how much it costs, it was $5. It was $5, and this was selling for $11.95. See what I'm talking about? I love used books. Okay, who likes used books? Who else likes used books? Put it in the comment section. Let me know if you are a used book buyer. Okay. All right. So that was the first book I picked up. Here's the second book I picked up. This one's called Cash in a Flash. Okay. I loved this title. Loved it. Now, this book I had never heard of, but I did hear and read The 1 Minute Millionaire. I read that a very long time ago. Mark Victor wrote the book. I think that's right. Mark Victor Hansen wrote The 1 Minute Millionaire. I think that's right. I'm not really good with names. You guys can tell. You can tell that, right? I'm good more or less with titles, especially if I know what the cover looks like. That's the visual person in me. But anyway, Cash in a Flash caught my eye, and when I saw that it was by one of the authors of The 1 Minute Millionaire, I was like, ooh, I really love that book. So let me see what this one's about. Now, what I like about this book is that it has two different subject matters or concepts within a book. Number one, the plain pages, or the pages off to the left-hand side, are going to be straight education. Okay, they're going to educate you. They're going to teach you on something. They're going to give you the tips. They're going to give you the strategies. The blue pages, the pages that have blue outline, okay, is a story of a person who is going through these strategies. The person that they talk about her name is Michelle, which is my middle name, which my family calls me. So I thought that was really cool. And I remember Michelle in The 1 Minute Millionaire, right? And I learned a lot of things that Michelle went through. So in this Cash in a Flash, I'm expecting that I am going to learn just as much, right? So I'm really, really excited about this one. I hope I can get to it this month. If not, then this definitely will be my November read because I'm keeping this one. I really like The 1 Minute Millionaire, so I'm hoping that I'm going to like this one too. It says that they combine two books into one, which is why they got like the story part and the strategy part. Okay, so Cash in a Flash, right? And you know what? What I love about these book covers is that this cover really does not say anything about cash, right? It doesn't just scream that this is about money. It's got this hummingbird, which I think because the wings fly really fast and you can get cash in a flash, right? So my assumption is that this book is really about mindset. It's about affirmation, positive thinking, manifesting, and that kind of stuff. And that's what the other book was really about. So I'm really excited. I'm excited about all the books I got because that's why I bought them, right? So Cash in a Flash, this comes from the used bookstore, right? Who deal? All right. So which one do I choose the next one? Okay, I'm gonna choose this one. This is a hard. Oh, did you want to know how much that one cost? That one was $5. $5, and it went for, is that $13? $13. Was it 13? I don't have my glasses on. No, $15. This book was $15 when it was in the bookstore. Okay. Hey Angela, how you doing? All right, so the other book that I got. Now this one I read the Cliff Note version of this one, and I really love the concept about that. But then I forgot about it. I was like, oh, I'm gonna go pick up the book, or oh, I'm gonna try to go order it from the library. But I just forgot. So when I was just roaming through the bookstore, I saw this book and said, okay, girl, all right, you said you wanted this book. Hold on to it. Look at the table of contents. Make sure this is something that you want to pick up. All right, so this book was recommended by a lot of business people and internet marketer people that I follow. I think I listened to the guy who wrote the book on someone's podcast. I don't know. You remember I told you guys that I can never remember names. But this book is The One Thing. And The One Thing is surprisingly simple, Truth Behind Extraordinary Results. And this is by Gary Kelly. Now, what I like about this concept, and this is for women who think they are great at multitasking or who are easily overwhelmed, like me, I need to really figure out what is that one thing that I need to be working on and what is it that I do not need to be thinking about, okay? Because if I'm working on that one thing, I'm going to be focused enough to stay focused and complete it. So I wanted to see, is there some kind of mind tricks to make it happen, to make this process a little easy? I don't know if it's mind tricks. I think that's just thinking about the way you go about the day better, right? So this one thing was something I definitely wanted to implement. Now, I mentioned earlier that how do I determine if I want to read a book? And I hope you do this too. I tend to look at the table of contents. And I was taught in grad school that the table of contents would tell you everything you need to know about a book. And a lot of times people don't even look at the table of contents. They look at the front of the book and they read the back of the book. And look, the back of the book. Look at the back of the book. That don't tell me diddly squat, does it? So the table of contents really tells you and sets this book up. Now, my college professor at the time told me if the table of contents does not catch your attention, then it's probably not a book that you want to read. Good point, right? And once you read the book, and this is for research basis, once you read the book, he said, create your own table of contents. What did you think was most important? What was the big idea out of the whole book? You create your own table of contents inside one of the blank pages. Right? My college professor was really big on using the book. My graduate professor was really big about using the book as much as possible. So the one thing, right? The one thing, I think this is a book that I think all women who think multitasking is a good thing and then they get overwhelmed and then they don't complete something, they need to read this one, right? I got another book that I think you definitely need to read too. So the one thing, I'm excited to reread it. Matter of fact, when I say reread it, the last time I read it in the Cliff Note version, and I did pick up some good little gems, but I think if I picked up some good little gems in the Cliff Note, imagine what I can pick up in the whole entire book. Another thing that I like about used books, I can't believe how much I'm talking about books. You can tell how much I love them. What I like about used books, I like when people leave notes inside or underline things. I like to see other people's perspective of what they thought was really important. If they got notes in the side or they've underlined some things like this person did, I like to look at it and say, okay, I wonder why that person underlined that. Does that have the same effect on me as it did on that person who underlined it? So that's why I really, the underlines and the notes in the side is like I'm reading another book within the book. Okay, so that's the one thing I love about used books. So here's one that I got from the used bookstore, The One Thing. Okay, The One Thing. That's a great title, right? All right. So the last book that I'm going to share with you is a book that I read, I think in the beginning of the spring, or at least fall. So I've read this book before. I've got it from the library. And I found out about this book in a mastermind that I was in. Maybe that was last year. I was in a mastermind. I just remember it being cold. So that must have been last year, like toward December. I was in this mastermind and this lady mentioned this book and said how they were part of a group that was reading this book, right? And I was like, okay, what is that book? And so when they mentioned the book, I was like, yeah, I saw that, but it didn't. I was like, oh, whatever. It's another, planner book, another organizing book. I know enough about that, right? But she raved about it. And so I was like, okay, put it on your book list. And I did. And then I ordered it. Well, I borrowed it from the library. Again, the library had to go get it from someone else and then send it to me. I read it and was like, oh, I like this idea. And this book really, the book that I'm going to share with you, follows like the one thing, okay? And I'm all about finding easier ways to be more productive and get more things done or get more things done more efficiently. Okay, so this book really put a really good dent in my mind to change the way that I plan out my quarterly business planning. It literally, I started to go into other forums. I was reading stuff. I downloaded the workbook. So this book really kickstarted the way that I plan out my quarter. So I must have read it in November, December of last year. Okay. So this book is the 12-week year. Get more done in 12 weeks than others do in 12 months. Now that's a title, right? From Brian Moran. And this basically is sharing with you how to plan your business or your life. I particularly remember it was more about business and in a quarterly base, right? So 12 weeks is about 3 months, 90 days, 12 weeks, right? And we think of doing business in a quarterly basis anyway, like fiscal year, that kind of stuff. So this really breaks down what you should be talking about and thinking about in each quarter. So I think this is a really good book to get because we are going into the final quarter of the year, right? Get this book to help you plan out the rest of your quarter and to think about the next quarter coming up, the first quarter of the year. Okay, so this is going to be for the last quarter of the year. And I'm so glad that I found this in the used bookstore because, again, perfect timing to just refresh my memory on, am I implementing the strategies and tasks that they mentioned in this book. Okay, so let me just go through did I tell you how much this book was? This book was $6. So what I found out about that their hardback books are $6 and their paperback books are $5. That's great. That's a great deal, isn't it? Okay. So let's look at the table of contents in this one. So they break it down into parts. So you got part 1, part 2. So it's 2 parts. The first part is things you think you know. Right? And then it goes into redefining the year. Chapter 3 is your emotional connection, which, as women, we all attach to stuff emotionally. Oh my gosh, I don't feel that way. Okay. Throw out the annual plan. Most of the time people tell us, okay, it's a new year, plan out what you're going to do for the whole year. He's saying throw out the annual plan. Okay. Of course he's going to say that because he wrote it, plan in 12 weeks. All right. And then he says 1 week at a time. Chapter 6 is confronting the truth. Chapter 7 is intentionally. And then chapter 8, accountability, interest versus commitment. Chapter 10 is greatness in the moment. And then yada, yada, yada. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you. But guys, this is a really good book that really, really, I say this about every book I've read, changed the way I do my quarterly planning, okay? Because one of the things that I really struggled with was, what do I do when? Do I do this when? Do I do this? How do I really set real goals? And so this 12-week year really helped me set realistic goals. And that is where I actually post my goals, my quarterly goals in my bathroom so that I can see them every day and write what I was able to accomplish on a weekly basis. Okay, so that is my book haul. That was what I got. And these are the books that I am going to read for the month of October. Again, my goal is to try to get in 4 books for the month. I probably won't. No, I'm setting myself up for failure. Well, this is true. I probably won't get to read all of these, okay, because that's way beyond my forward limit of the month. But I'm pretty sure that I'm going to get to the 2 that I got from the library, these 2, because I got to return these in 2 weeks, okay. One I've already read. This one, I'm showing you the wrong one. This one I already listened to in audio. So I think I'm gonna go through all the stories, and what I saw in this book, they have activities at the end. I love books that have activities at the end of the chapter, and I like books that do like a recap at the end too. So hint, if you're gonna write a book and it is, I'm your target audience, put some activities at the end or give me a quick little recap. Okay. So these two books I definitely got to try to read in the next 2 weeks because they go back to the library. All right. So Sheila says, sounds good. I'm definitely getting at least 3 of them. Awesome. Awesome. I can't wait to share. So guys, I hope you really enjoyed my book haul. I plan to do more of this. I think, sometimes I take for granted that no one really wants to know what I'm doing or what I'm thinking or what I'm reading. But I know if my mentors and my coaches, when they tell me to go get something or read something, I jump right on it, right? Because I want to know what they are reading that has helped them become successful. Because one of the biggest things is that success leaves clues. And a lot of times those clues are inside a book. And if you can pick up one good nugget out of one book, then this was worth the price. And because I got them from the used bookstore, I know I'm going to get at least one nugget out of this that is worth the $6 that I spent on this book. So think about that when you're buying books, that don't always look at like, oh my gosh, this book is $15 or this book is $60. Well, if it's a $60 book, we might want to rethink that one. But if it's a $19 or a $20 book, I guarantee you that you're going to get at least a $20 ideal out of it. And sometimes $20 ideas turn into $100 ideas or $1,000 ideas. So think about that when you're looking at book purchases. Don't look at it like, oh, this is 20, but think about what you're going to get out of it. And sometimes you get immediate results out of it, and sometimes you get results that are come 2 or 3 years later. I just note that by me deciding after college to become an advocate reader literally has changed my life. Okay, from the finance books that I've read, from the social media books that I've read, the business books, the marketing books, I have implemented at least one thing out of each one of those books. So think about it. The books that you see behind me, I've at least implemented one thing out of that book, and it's gotten me results. Okay, so you can't lose with that. All right, guys. So I want to say thank you so much for hanging in there with me as I go through my book haul. I know that was a little crazy, but I wanted to share that with you and how excited I was about my books that I plan to read for October. So if you can, if you have a book that you want, to share with me, go ahead, put it in the comment section, do a video for me sharing, and then tag me on it. I am all about learning about new things. I want to read what you're reading, and so that you and I can have something to converse about if we sit down and meet. But us book lovers just love taking in new content. So I want to say thank you again for joining me, and I will be talking to you guys soon. Peace out.